Joe Mazzulla joins us now on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Joe, good morning.
Good morning, fellas. How are you?
How you doing, Joe? Crappy day out, huh? 85 and sunny.
Yeah. Not the best of conditions, but we'll make it work.
You must admit this, and that is when it's 80 degrees and sunny in Boston, and the Celtics are playing in the Eastern Conference Final with an 8 p.m. tip, that this weather will help give the crowd a little bit of a boost tonight because they've had the extra hour and that beautiful weather to hydrate. Maybe out on the sidewalk somewhere on like Canal Street, just getting ready for the game.
That's the best part is, as you get around this time of year, just watching the city and the crowd kind of get into it. So they've been big for us all year. So, yeah, you're right about that.
Joe, the last two series, game 2, a little bit of a head-scratcher for your team. What can you take from those two games and help to not prevent what happened there in this series at the beginning of it?
Yeah, all those losses you've had.
Yeah.
I think we really got to get ready for game 1 first, right? I think especially as you go into a new series, it's kind of like a little bit of a reset because there's different teams, there's different lineups, there's different sub-patterns. There may be different sets that you have to run. So it's kind of like you got to quickly re-enter yourself into the fight, enter yourself into the new series. So I think that's kind of been the goal of ours so far. And, getting off to a good start against a good Indiana team.
So the Knicks had the 3-2 series lead, and it looked like it was leaning Knicks, and then it goes the other way, and you had to wait until Sunday to find out which team it would be coming to Boston for tonight. So what did yesterday look like in knowing it was the Pacers and preparing for this series? How does that sort of workflow go once you know who it is?
Yeah, I mean, during the even when we didn't know who we were playing, there's definitely themes to both teams, and there's concepts that you need to be ready to execute in a playoff series, regardless of who you're playing. So I'd say the first couple of days, we found some connected themes based on our opponent, but then really focused on the things that kind of go into winning a series, regardless of who you're playing. And then yesterday we were able to kind of just be more specific in that because it was Indiana, and so it presents challenges, and, we spent the day working on those on both ends of the floor. Also, just kind of honing in on our strengths on both ends of the floor and what's going to take for us to win.
In your opinion, where does Tyrese Halliburton stack up in terms of guards in the NBA, and how do you try to slow him down in this series?
Yeah, he's a good player. I think the thing about him is he has the ability to score on his own and facilitate. And so I think the biggest thing is keeping these guys out of the home run plays, the transitions, the and ones, the threes that they get from losing your guy or from getting out and running. So as much as, he's a great player, he's got a good team around him, and he trusts his guys. And when they're all impacting the game, they're a good team.
Joe, last time we talked to you a week ago, you said you didn't speak to the doctors. You had no update on Porzingis. Have you spoke to the doctors this week?
I have not.
You have not? So how's he feeling? How's he feeling?
Hiding? Where are they? Where are those doctors?
Yeah.
I tell you what, he's working his ass off trying to come back. I know that. He does a great job of just doing anything and everything he can. He's open-minded towards the treatment that he has to get. So I do know he's never missed a day. Whether we got film, practice, he's there. And he's doing anything and everything he can, whether it's in the weight room, the treatment room, just kind of to get ready. He's in good spirits. So, we just trust that process.
How does he look when you see him? When you see him riding that bike or jogging or whatever it is he's doing?
Got a smile on his face. Same great personality that he's got.
He's tall and handsome. How's he moving? Is he all right? Is he in pain or what's the deal?
He's doing a great job, but he's a competitor and he wants to be out there, so he's doing whatever it takes.
Hey, yesterday Drew Holiday called your style and methods of getting ready as craziness. He said, anybody knows Joe, he's crazy. It's almost like a controlled madness. Anything you got concocted up for this round? Like, do you feel your craziness elevate round to round, or do you still even kill same day?
Yeah, I think I appreciate what Drew said. I think you can't be who you want to be as a coach and a staff unless your players let you, and unless you kind of have that environment to where we're all in it together, right? Like, at the end of the day, the players are the ones that kind of dictate the environment with their effort, their buy-in, their mindset, and they've done a great job of that, and they've allowed our staff to kind of put them in position. And so I think it starts with them. But, yeah, I mean, you try to stay in the fight as long as you can, right? At the end of the day, you're in a playoff series, you're in a fight. Fight could be 4 games, could be 7, could be overtime. It really doesn't matter. You just got to stay locked into the mindset. And find that balance. Kind of talked about that in the game in between series. Like you want to get your rest, but you got to stay in the fight because every round is different and it gets harder and harder.
Good. Drew said you bring some weird energy, is how he described it. When talking about drills specifically too in practice, I was going to ask you what's the most unconventional drill you've had this team do?
We've had a few of them, but I think what I credit the guys on and what I think it's important is the game is so unpredictable, and a lot of times, in the coaching world, you practice predictability and you practice comfort. And our guys have done a great job kind of buying into the opposite, like practicing unpredictability and practicing discomfort. And even though a drill may not be, what they're used to doing, whether it's former teams in the NBA or NBA drills or college, they understand that there's a level of unpredictability that you have to have. There's a level of chaos that you have to create, and you've got to be open-minded to, just adjusting to different games and different situations. I think this team's learned all year. The game just changes. The leagues change, the games change, the way teams guard us change, the way teams attack us change, and we got to stay on our toes, and we got to be ready for anything and everything, but we also got to be aggressive. So we're trying to create drills that promote chaos, that promote unpredictability, but amongst that chaos and unpredictability, you got to be mentally tough. You got to be ready to execute, and I think they're pretty fun. So I think the guys have kind of bought into that.
So with that, is this year's version of the Boston Celtics more mentally tough, more prepared to win at this time of year? The group has changed, so some of the faces and names are different, but is this team the most prepared to win at this time of year since you've been with the Celtics?
Yeah, I mean, every year is different, right? Because you get different players, you get different personalities. I kind of talked about this yesterday where, the leagues in general, professional leagues, Joe, you probably know this, everything's about timing. Everything's about getting the right guy at the right time, getting a guy in a particular point of his life, his career. And so, I think we've had really good timing where we have a bunch of guys that are grouped together that are kind of focused on the present in that moment right there. And so I think between the timing of kind of everyone coming together and I think the focus and the mindset of the players, up until this point, we put ourselves in a good position, and I think that's the challenge, is we got to keep that up.
Joe, I'm a uniform freak. You look good, you feel good, you play good. What are we wearing tonight?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Who picks
I'll find
that?
out when we get there.
No, seriously, like, who picks that? Is that?
I think sometimes the league,
Okay.
maybe, or I don't know.
Okay.
I honestly couldn't tell you. I do know we have, I think the 4 names are the statement, the city, the association, and the icon. So I do know the names of them.
Yeah,
those are important. Knowing
Okay.
that
Tonight is the association, the classic white.
Nice.
That's tonight's
That's my
jersey.
favorite.
There you go.
Yeah, the statements are the black, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Icons are green, and the city ones are the ones they change every year.
The statement jerseys will be game 2, from what I understand.
All right.
So you will go.
Credit to the equipment room for taking care of all that for us.
I'm a 2X. I mean,
What number are you?
16.
Put a 6. Give me a 16. Give me
Yeah.
a 16 one, man. That'd be sweet.
16?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, do you worry? Everybody's picking you. Obviously, you're the favorite. You've earned it. You've earned the number 1 seed. How hard is it to keep the team off social media, off hearing everything, and focused on what's at hand?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I don't think you can eliminate that, right? I think everyone lives their own life. They handle things differently. People, understand the noise different, and so I don't really focus on that. But, like, at the end of the day, you saw what Jamal Murray said, which I think was an interesting point after they lost, talking about going from being the hunter to the hunted. I think, like, that, to me, you should always be in kill mode. You should always be in a killer mindset. Not to say that it's not going to be tough, not to say that we may go through tough stretches the remainder of this playoffs, but you got to stay in kill mode and just have an understanding of the opportunity and the responsibility we have to winning. And our guys have done a really good job of that. And I was talking about this yesterday with our staff. Like, even when we didn't know who we were playing a couple of times, like, our guys have not had a bad day as far as their mindset, their effort, and their attention to detail in a practice. And, paying attention to that process and valuing that process is really the only thing you can do until it's time to play the game.
All right, Joe. Well, we look forward to it. Looking forward to the series. Looking forward to having some games again. Did you get nice and rested during this break like some of your players did? Jaylen Brown said he's enjoying the rest, feels good. It's giving him an opportunity to recharge. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I told you, it's a balance, right? You want to rest, and the players are different, obviously, because they have the physical load that they have to recover from because they're putting their bodies on the line every night. But it was a little bit of rest, but more like you got to stay in the fight. It's kind of like being in between rounds. Like you take your foot off the gas mentally and emotionally, you let your guard down. Your opponent, your environment can get the best of you. And so there's a little bit of rest there, but mainly it's just kind of staying in training camp mode, staying sharp, trying to stay in kill mode as much as we can.
Kill mode. Love it.
Kill mode, like that. Yeah, when the threes aren't falling, just attack the basket. That's our advice. Just make sure you do that.
Cut to the bucket. Play some defense.
I mean, from a variant standpoint, if the threes aren't falling, you keep shooting them because that means they're eventually going to go in.
I
right?
know, we don't like that. All of us out here in Celtics fan land, we don't like that. We don't like it.
5 out. Let's go. All right.
I mean, there's always a bunch of ways to look at things, you know? I mean, if you were coaching your kid and your kid missed a few in a row, you're going to tell them to stop shooting?
Tell him to
define a few.
Hit the checkdowns.
Okay?
Hit the checkdowns.
Like at some point, missing 8 threes, it might have been better to score 6 or 8 points by going to the basket on some of those attempts.
Yep.
Well, hey, I'll tell you what. So there's 2 times now where we've had one player shoot over, between 13 and 17 threes in a Game 7. And so, credit to Al and credit to the teammates because Game 5 of Cleveland, Al had missed a bunch in the 2 previous games. And, he ended up going 6 for 13 in the next game. And you take a look at 2 years ago, the Bucks did it to Grant. He shot 17 of them. He missed a whole bunch in the first. And he ended up making them, which put us over the top. So, listen, there's a balance there. There's a balance of empowerment, of confidence. There is a balance of making sure you're taking great shots. But at the end of the day, we got to be ready to knock down shots. We got to be ready to play at a high level. So there's different ways to look at that.
All right, so now I've got another question on my mind because that is interesting. Do you have any data that suggests when a guy is missing a lot in a game that he can turn it around in a game? Like, what are the odds of turning it around in game versus what you just described, which is coming back the next game and having it figured out?
I mean, I think and I can honestly say it isn't about us, and we've tried to talk about this year. Like, it's about taking great shots and taking what the defense gives us, and we've done a better job this year of taking what the defense gives us, whether it's threes, twos, or layups. That's important. And it's important to stay that way. But you have to look at the shot quality. And so that's one of the great things that our analytics department does is provide instant data on our shot quality, whether it's in-game, whether it's post-game, whether it's throughout a season, throughout a stretch of games. And if you're getting great shot quality, you have to trust that process, more than not. And at the same time, you got to be ready to go to something different in the middle of a game if it calls for that. But the process towards the types of shots that we get more times than not are really good, and it's important to stick to that process. And I think that plays a part into some of the success that we've had on the offensive end.
All right, Joe. Good luck tonight. Good luck in this series.
All right. Thanks, Al.
See you,
Great
Joe.
talking to you.
All right, buddy. Good luck.
Later.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand here. For more Celtics analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.